everyone, today I wanted to make a video about my new book series because although I've talked about my new book, Captivating Kelp Forests, I should make my titles easier to say, and I have mentioned it's in the same series as Secret Seagrass Meadows, but I haven't really gone into any details about what's going to happen with that series and how it came about and all that kind of thing. And it's such a privilege to work on this project. So I really wanted to make a single video to explain the whole thing and just how excited I am. So in this video, I'm going to talk about, as I say, how the project came about, what the books are, and a few mini details about what's coming up. So the series is called Discovering Marine and Coastal Habitats. And the idea is the books follow a similar format and it's going to explore various different marine and coastal habitats, and that's aimed at young children, so children who like picture books, so around age 4 to 7. I always find it really hard to set an age range because, for instance, my children would have enjoyed a book like this probably from about the age of 3, potentially even younger if you really sort of engaged them in it. But I know that for some children their attention levels are different, and also some children aren't very gentle with paperbacks, and these are in paperback, there's not like a board book version. And then for the upper range, I think my children still would enjoy hearing the story, even though it wasn't necessarily aimed specifically at their age group, whereas other kids might be really done with it. So I think it depends on the kind of books that your child enjoys, and everybody's different. But if they're into their picture books, then they should enjoy these. So yeah, the idea is to make these things accessible for children because, certainly from my perspective, the marine environment it's easy to overlook it because other than sort of the things you see on the beach and exposed rock pools and the habitats you can actually see, really the sea acts as kind of a barrier whereby the stuff below it you can't really see and connect with in the same way as other like land habitats. And I think that they're not commonly known about or celebrated in the same way. And I know that when I was young, I had a book, I actually think it's somewhere in this house still, that was about the deep sea. And I remember just being blown away by it and it enabling me to see something that there's no way I could see without a submarine, and they don't let kids go in submarines. And that just being really fascinating to actually kind of have access to that. And obviously it's not just from an interest point of view, a kid that is just fascinated to learn this stuff, but also if you're aware these habitats exist, I think it connects you with them. And that's adults too, and I really hope that parents enjoy reading these books too and that they learn something, because it's come from a place of trying to teach about the habitats and the creatures that live within them, but making sure that it's accessible for young kids so it's not too sciencey. Yeah. But obviously if you know something exists, then that's going to make you have that little bit of awareness. The young people who read this book, if they go on to try and take some kind of action to protect underwater habitats, to learn more about it and engage in the scientific side of things. Or, I mean, there's so many different ways that as those children get older, and perhaps when they're older and they're working in designing products, or maybe they're working in education and they can tell future generations about it, or maybe they're working in industry and they can make sure that things are disposed of properly. Or there are so many ways that it could go, that just teaching kids while they're young that these things are so cool hopefully then translates just into so much more as they grow older. And even for young children, they can still understand certain concepts of what they can do. I really believe that children aren't powerless in this situation where we've got threatened environments, they can still make sure they take their rubbish home. They can still be careful when they're at the beach and make sure they're not sort of stepping on things, and make sure they're gentle with marine organisms, they put them back, and they, you know, they can still do things that make a difference. I've come across kids on the beach who are maybe not being so respectful, and that's just because they don't know, you know? So I just think that it is really important. And that's what's at the heart of the books, that discovery of marine and coastal habitats, and just look, this is what it is, isn't it amazing? And then that can lead in so many ways, but just awareness itself is so powerful when so many people, including those who live by the sea, just don't have that awareness and don't engage with it in that way. And you know, I can remember when I was younger having friends who would like bury rubbish on the beach, or didn't care if they littered and things like that. And the idea of that now is just horrifying to me, and hopefully lots of people, because you understand that that rubbish goes somewhere, and that we used to have this concept of the sea just being this horrible, dirty, like, what's the point? The sea in Britain is just gross and it's cold and nothing lives there. And that it's not true. There's such, you know, incredible, the habitats are amazing. There's so much life. It's not dirt. Well, some places are dirty, but often it's just that it's murky because of the visibility. But that doesn't mean the stuff isn't down there and it's not important, and we shouldn't protect that in the same way that we would other habitats. So get down off of my high horse about this, but that's the idea, the central idea in the book. So what happened is, first of all, when Secret Seagrass Meadows came out, I've talked about this before on this channel, but basically I had a weekend away with some friends of mine who work for Natural England, and they kind of said, if we wrote a book, then how long would that take? How much would it cost? Is it doable? We had this conversation and I was like, this won't go anywhere, because I do sometimes talk to people about book ideas and it doesn't necessarily go anywhere. And then it did. My friends got back in touch and were like, yeah, we really want to do this. And so Secret Seagrass Meadows was born. And I contacted Rhiannon Thomas, because I was like, the biggest thing is going to be trying to find an illustrator who's got time in their schedule. And I called Rhiannon because I'd worked with her before, or voiced Instagram, no, I don't know what just happened to my brain. What was I looking for? WhatsApped her, that's what I was looking for, and said, you know, are you interested? And she just came back so excited and was like, yes, I can make that work. So it meant I could work with someone that I know and someone who has this love of the ocean as well. And I knew that she could handle this project. She comes from a background not only of illustration, but also of archaeological drawings. So she had the ability to do like the technical, specific side of things, but make it illustration friendly, if that makes sense. So we got Rhiannon on board, Natural England were excited about it, and we ran with this project and put this book together. And this was launched in September 2022. And I was just like, that was amazing. You know, what a great thing to have done. Was kind of thinking seagrass was the key habitat. There's a lot about seagrass at the moment, and we've done our book about that. Cool, we're done, you know. And then I was out with the same people from Natural England during the launch, actually, of seagrass. And they said, could we do this for other habitats? What about this? They were kind of throwing ideas. What about this? And what about this? And could we do that? And I was like, well, of course. They were kind of saying, you know, do you want to be sort of committed to this for the next, you know, X amount of time? Would that be an issue for your other projects? And I was like, are you joking? This is such a dream project. I'm on board. I'm not just on board, I'm sailing the ship. So yeah, I was thrilled that this was something that we could move forward with. And we talked about, you know, what habitats would be great to do the same thing for and to follow the same format. So in Seagrass, if you haven't read the book, what happens is it starts off by saying this is what seagrass is, this is what the actual plant is, and then these are the kind of things that live there. I'll go through different examples, and then talks about the threats to seagrass, and then goes on to talk about the projects that are working to replant seagrass meadows and to sort of give hope at the end of the book, and along the way with a suggestion of ways that kids can actually engage in that too. So that was the format. and we said we can do the same thing for other habitats, highlight what's being done and also empower young people to be able to get involved and care about it and feel like they're part of the whole thing. So we talked about some habitats at the time, and kelp was pretty much top of everybody's list. So then we moved on to working on kelp forests. So this has been being developed since around about October, November 2022, and it was going to be launched in June 23, but then we decided to move that back to February 24 because of the event that we wanted to release the book at, and, you know, just do justice to the book's release. So yes, this is February 24. So then we're going to be moving straight on to our next habitat. Now, I think at present the plan is to cover about 5 or 6 habitats. We have some ideas in place for the ones that we would like to cover. Natural England obviously have, and have I explained who Natural England are? They're basically a quango, so they're not part of the government, but they're kind of in an umbrella under it. They're sort of underneath DEFRA, and they're an organisation that protects our natural habitats, and sort of work with land users, landowners, and look at policies and take actions around all of that. So that's who Natural England are. So they have ideas over the habitats that are particularly sort of key ones for them to bring awareness to. And obviously, you know, Rhiannon and I can look at how we can, you know, what we can include, how we can work on that in terms of what we can include in the writing and what Rhiannon can illustrate. So the next one coming up is one of 2 possibilities. And then, as I say, the whole series will be about 5 or 6 books. We do already have ideas of what those might be, but it depends on things like funding and whether, you know, what habitats we want to look at and how that sort of continues on. And you know, there's obviously things at play, so that each project we need to go, okay, this is what we propose to do, and then, you know, whether that moves forward or not depends. So hopefully it does, and of course we could get to the end of the 5 or 6 books and then decide that we want to continue on, might have more habitats we decide to cover. So it's a little bit open-ended just now, but the next one is, as I say, just in a will we do this habitat or this habitat stage, which is super exciting. So from my perspective, I'm just delighted to be along for the ride. So as long as they want me, I'm doing this. As long as this is something that is valuable and exciting, then I'm on board. So yeah, the books, as I say, will follow. They'll be the same kind of size, similar format, and follow the same story arc. They're all in rhyme as well, so they hopefully then they follow a particular format that young people, if they like one, then another one's going to be similar, and they get the same things out of it. And the idea being, by the end of it, that you know what the habitat is, you know, what it's made of and what lives there and why it's important, and then what we're doing to make sure that it carries on. So yeah, these were the first ones. Seagrass is a super hot topic at the moment, and kelp is also very, very important. This is my favourite marine habitat, so this was really exciting for me to do. I do have a lot of links with seagrass. I was involved in some seahorse dives back when I was at uni, and those were on seagrass, and some of my favourite sites had a lot of seagrass on them, so it was really nice to work on this. But if I could dive anywhere, if you were like, right, you're going on a dive, where are you going? It would be a kelp forest. 100%, I love them. So for me, to be able to write about that one was really, really exciting. But each one has its own little things that I love about it. So some of the future ones, I'm like, oh, that's going to be good. So yeah, that's the series so far, and it's carrying on. And really, I just wanted to make a video to acknowledge that, because other than kind of mentioning it in passing, I hadn't really properly explained that yes, there is a series, and you know, all the things. So yeah, that's the situation. As I say, if you want to find out more about the books, you can go on my website, and it's all there. And the launch is coming up in, is it 12 days, 13 days from right now, which is just wild. So I'm starting to get prepared for that, and yeah, exciting stuff. So let me know in the comments if you would like any more details, or if you've got a favourite marine or coastal habitat. As I say, mine is kelp. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Take care.